I don't want you to like Gaius Baltar. For Christ's sake, that's the whole point. I don't want you to like him. I used to say about Battlestar, it was like, Gaius Baltar's kind of mantra was like, it's the end of the world. And if I can possibly do my next door neighbor a disservice, I will.
I'm so happy that you're here, though, because like every single time I talk to somebody about the show, they're like, why haven't you had James Callis on? Like, and I'm like, well, because he intimidates the shit out of me.
Oh, that's funny.
It's true, though. That's one of the reasons. Well,
yes,
the other
course.
reason is I wanted to do it in person, of course. But like, it's true. It's like your brain and your talent have always intimidated me.
Oh, gosh.
Always. So your style of acting is enthralling to watch and to act opposite of, because it feels well, I wrote down what I honestly wanted to say what it was. And this goes to your style in a sense, I believe. But you play these characters that seem to be in constant conflict with themselves internally. And do you think that every character, every person carries a bit of that self-deception? Where like, I feel like your style is where you're constantly in a conversation as the character with two separate sides of who this person is, the duality of a character. And it lends itself to this energy, this very focused chaos almost, that is so interesting to watch, because it feels like you're having a wrestling match within the words that you're even saying. And is that style, is that something that rings true to you? And is that style something that was always there, or was that honed later?
No, I think that there's a couple of things. There's certainly, I believe that every, like in Shakespeare, we would talk like scenes have episodic intensification. If I translate that to like characters, it's like, no two characters are the same. So, I mean, since obviously we know each other rather well from Battlestar,
right.
And that was a huge role and a gift of a lifetime to play that role, to be in that show. We all know what it's the gift that keeps on giving continuously, and why we're here today, which is like, thank you so much, all of the people that made that happen. So that guy, he's a chronic mess, and I felt that if there was no internal duality, if he wasn't upset by it, then he was just a monster, just a pure monster. And I wanted to, you have the template going into Battlestar of John Colicos, who was the original Baltar. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
No.
I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
And luckily, so many things written in the sense of Baltar's not totally in control, because Six is governing a lot of what he does. So he has several, as it were, internal, external forces working on him. But in another, slightly more just acting, or just like, there's something fun about like, I'm absolutely giving you this with one hand, but also I'm taking this bit away at the same time.
Yeah.
And that there's certain people or certain things you can do that with. It's almost like a sleight of hand, so that I think what's really one of the things that you do as an actor is that you've got these lines, and normally, actually, me, James Callis, I wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah,
that's not who I am. That's really not. That's not like me at all. So. I've got these lines, and if I'm saying these lines, then I'm actually thinking in a different way. I'm thinking in a different way to the way that I think. And from that comes this thing, I think, for a lot of people, which is like, what on earth, what's he going to say next?
Yeah.
What on earth is, because I always feel like there's a part of, well, for all of us, you don't want to look like you're reading the lines or you've read the lines. And so all of us have indicative speech patterns, the way that there are some actors as well who have a real, a way that they talk. I'm thinking particularly of somebody I love in London, a guy called Michael Kitchen. He's just this phenomenal actor. He speaks in a certain way. And it's this, and
every character.
Not every character, but like you never know what he's going to say next. You can't, and it's just this. I
feel like you have that though. You have that where you have this musicality to your dialogue almost.
Well, I was going to say one of the things I really loved really early on is Pinter. Harold Pinter, the playwright.
Okay.
And one of the first things I did at university was directed and acted in The Birthday Party. Mm-hmm. Now, Pinter is famous because he's really the first person ever to put in the dialogue pause.
Oh.
In a play. This stuff had never been done before, really. It totally revolutionized the British theatre, I would say. And certainly, I mean, acting was going through a change as well. His thing is really fascinating because it seems like it's natural. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. You said you're not doing anything? No, I was just looking out of the window. And there are these pauses. So it feels like it's natural. Actually, what he's really looking at is ritual. And the way that we don't realize because it's subconscious, and there's a form of symbolism where there are these two halves of something that makes sense when they're stuck together. We've only got one half. So you don't realize that half the things that you're doing in your life are it's like you're hardwired from the thousands of years we've been here as a species. You're in some form of ritual, whatever that ritual may be. And that's not necessarily a sacred thing. It's certainly not today. Long story short, it's really fascinating what's like not said, what's not in the lines, what's not there, where the pauses are. The pause tells you more. Like we all give ourselves away no matter what you do. Like the way I look, if I touch my hat or don't touch my hat, part of us as actors, I think, is trying to do this thing about like, not telling, not having a tell. Mm-hmm. So that actually takes something, doesn't it? When you're, like, I want to do a little joke now, can I?
Please.
Because like, okay, it just reminds me of, there's this wonderful thing about the actor. He's like, auditions for this part. It's at the beginning of the play. And they're like, it comes up and it's got the lines, and the line is, "Hark, I hear the cannons roar." He goes, "Hark, I hear the cannons roar." They're like, "Great, you've got the job." So he goes home, and he's like any actor, "Hark, I hear the cannons roar. Hark, I hear the cannons roar. Hark, I hear the cannons roar." He's like going through every, intimation. He's got this flipping thing. And they're like, "Listen, dude, literally you begin the play. We're going to put you in the costume. You're a sentry on the battlements. You're walking along. And, when the lights go down, that's when..."
Hark, I hear the cannons.
Hark, I hear the cannons roar. So it's the first night. He's like, whatever. He's got this thing like this. He's ready, like whatever. And a massive cannon goes off behind him. He goes, "What the fuck was that?" And so it's like, the long story short is like the pausing, or what you don't know, is really fascinating. It's the stuff that's not there. And that allows you a lot of leeway. Like, for example, I'm thinking of Eddie now, and Eddie in Miami Vice.
Yeah.
you cannot take your eye. Well, you can't take your eyes off him anyway. But like, particularly in Miami Vice, as a kid watching that show, I was like, "What is his story?
Oh yeah.
What on earth is going on with this guy?" And every time you cut to him, you're like, "No, let's go back. Let's go back to him because he is
the intensity.
Oh, something else,
at all times."
And so, very little dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Very. So in that sense, the silence or the pauses or the things in between are just as fascinating, if not more fascinating, than what you're saying.
So, is it more so the storytelling that intrigues you, the character study, or both?
I love stories. And then in the way that we worked in Battlestar, which is, I suppose, my first real introduction, who gets the opportunity to work like that for 5 years on something? This creative project with all of these brilliant people.
Yeah.
You'd read the episodes like I would, and oh my God, this is so brilliant. Look at this, how, and because they were all interconnected, pretty much, that, something that happened in the first episode could really affect or have a meaning in the final episode.
Yeah.
And that's just incredible storytelling. One of the things I'm doing if I'm not acting, apart from bit of music here and there, which is a hobby really, is writing. And when you write for yourself as well, and then you see the way that all of the scripts were written in Battlestar in this record time, it's humbling is what I can say. It's really humbling.
Well, it's also why writers' rooms are so important to our television industry. And the cutback of those is detrimental to the work, but also like the mental health of the people that are consistently delivering those projects. It's really hard to deliver like that at a high level when you're not surrounded by a team.
I can't even imagine. I just know that in times when I'm not acting, I always tell actors or people who want to be actors that they should always be writing, doing something, or thinking about something other than what's necessarily coming in. It's what are you the more I find that you do for yourself, the more something else happens, strangely.
Well, of course. I mean, the more life experience, the more life you live, the more you have to draw from. And
yes,
for sure.
But it's more like, whenever I'm setting myself out on some path, at some point you're going to be diverted. Something else comes. The amount of times I've tried or wanted to I'm going to be making a film now. I'm going to be doing this thing, which has happened rarely, but a few times, or projects that I want to make. The further I am into that project, then suddenly there's an audition that comes along that is like, this is going to take up 3 years of your life.
Yeah.
And now this. But I always feel like I wouldn't have got that audition or had that opportunity if I hadn't been absolutely plumbing for something else.
I've always said that every job begets another job. When I first started in this industry, I had friends that were turning things down. And I was like, we've just started out.
Yeah.
How luxurious to be able to turn work down. I think it's a mistake.
Yep.
And I had a girlfriend who turned down Halloween Resurrection. And I was number 2 on the list and I took it. And she's no longer working.
Right.
And granted, there are a million different reasons why that could be the circumstance. But I like to think that part of it, and she and I have had this conversation, part of it is that every single job that I was on helped me learn something to get me to the next step.
Yes.
And there was nothing that was beneath me. And as long as it didn't, go against my moral standings, every job was a phenomenal job and I was lucky to have it.
It's interesting you say that about going against your moral standards, about because I've definitely turned down things I don't want to do.
Early in your career? Or
no, I've
later?
never had that opportunity.
Right.
You go for literally everything. I remember going up for a commercial casting, and like I had to like, they really wanted me, and they wanted to help me. I just had to like hold this beer can, sip it, say it was nice, and like then it's finished. Because it's fit, and like throw it up in the air and catch it. And I threw it up in the air and I couldn't catch it, and it fell on the ground. And it was like, I went up for I do everything.
Yeah.
And then after there's a certain thing like Bridget Jones. Then like all the parts that came afterwards were to be the gay best friend in something, which I just didn't think was a good idea, because it's like you're just pigeonholed, or you get pigeonholed. And then after Battlestar, it's a lot of like crazy scientists, or which again I wasn't particularly interested in, because it was been there, done that, got the T-shirt. But more than that, things I've actually turned down, which is very few and far between, in the sense of 9 times out of 10 I'm auditioning for something. I've been very fortunate sometimes to be offered a role in some things, but offered a role in something, turn it down, is when some things were just so cruel.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do that. Get somebody else to do that. I can't. That's yeah. Not for me. And certain things that you like, I've got a joke about this. I've got a joke about everything, haven't I? But I did this thing, AD, the Bible continues. It doesn't, FYI, but it was probably supposed to. And it was amazing. And we shot it in Morocco with the most phenomenal actors. Right. It looked amazing. It was amazing. The commitment, the scale. It was an incredible thing to be part of, certainly as well in Morocco. And not only that, just sideways, there were 3 other productions about Jesus at the same hotel. So there were 3 Jesuses who were sitting with each other at dinner at night. And like, there was something like, it must have been like 50 to 60 actors, mostly around this beautiful swimming pool, telling stories to each other, laughing all day. But the reason I bring this up is because there was a lot of violence in the show. This is actually really, it was like Jesus is found, Pontius Pilate is there. I was playing King Herod, who is certainly an unusual guy. And the Christians are being hunted down. And so you're an actor, you're in London, you've done an audition, the phone rings, you've got the job. You're like, oh my God, I got the job. It's flipping amazing. Cut to, you're in Morocco, half naked with like a loincloth, chained to a wall, covered in ketchup with flies all over your face. And some guy behind you, like whipping you. And you're going, ah, ah. And like, you're like, sorry, what part of me thought that this was good? I'm like, what? When did this is so there was certainly that kind of thing. It's like, that we used to say this at drama school as a joke, but it's true. It's like, it's not as glamorous as it looks.
I say this to people all the time.
And there's a lot of waiting around.
Yes.
But we wouldn't be here or discussing it unless we loved it so much that can't think of doing anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's what we do is a real privilege. And I always feel, again, I definitely took a lot of jobs when I was younger, kind of before Battlestar, especially if there was travel involved, wherever it might be, Turkey or Greece or whatever. I found myself in Timbuktu or on the verges of Timbuktu, just for a shot that they wanted of a guy going up this huge rock that was so beautiful. And I realized that everybody who was there at 4 o'clock in the morning waiting for the sun to come up over this, which looks amazing on film as well. I'm like, hey, no one's here by accident. Everybody has willed themselves here. There is not one person who's like, oh, I fell over and like whatever, I happened. No. And that's the same with every single set that you're on. Everybody who's there wants to be there and has willed themselves to be there in quite a Nietzschean way. Thus, I willed it. Yeah. It's not an accident. It's not a mistake. And that's an incredible feeling.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by Every Plate. Do you think you have to spend big bucks or tons of time in the kitchen to make delicious food at home? You don't. And especially this time of year, I always find myself so hectic, so running around after kids and the holidays that I just don't have time to think about what I'm going to make for dinner. When you use Every Plate, you get restaurant level deliciousness week after week with recipes like crispy buffalo ranch chicken and cheesy Mexican street corn hash. My kids love everything that comes from Every Plate, and I'm not kidding. You will spend less on these flavor-packed homemade meals than you would on your normal groceries or at a restaurant. It is the perfect time to try Every Plate during the holidays to free up your time so you can spend more time doing what you love. That is why I really, really like Every Plate, and I think you should try it too. What are you waiting for? Dig into these flavor-packed meals your household will love. New customers can enjoy this special offer of only $1.99 a meal. Go to everyplate.com/podcast and use code Katee199 to get started. Applied as discount on first box. Limited time only. Enjoy. Hey everyone, if you haven't subscribed to our show, make sure you do that right now. You hit that button. It is the only way to get alerts and know what's coming and what's up. Back to the episode. My mom always said to me, in fact, I have it down, like in her handwriting on my body, but she used to say, "You're not here by chance." Because I always had so much imposter syndrome growing up and guilt growing up because things seemed to come easily to me, more readily easily to me than they did from my brother.
Right.
My brother struggled with trying to figure out who he was, trying to figure out what he wanted to do in life, trying to be good at sports, trying to be good at school, trying to just be who he thought everyone wanted. I mean, he just struggled. And I didn't.
No.
I knew who I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I enjoyed. I knew all of that stuff. And my mom, so I always felt like bad. Like, why? I want him to just like know what it feels like to wake up in the morning and go, God, I know what I want to do.
Yes.
And she said, you got to stop. You're not here by chance. Every single moment in your life has led you here. You wanted to do this when you were 2 years old. And it's because you liked storytelling. You loved that. You also loved praise and you loved performing. But those were things that were always in you.
Yes.
But you cultivated them and you nourished them. And it's just, you're just different people.
I think that what you're saying rings so true to me. And seeing you and acting with you, you know, one of your qualities that you bring to the party is being just a very, very natural.
Mm.
It's like you shoot from the hip, and it's a startling quality. You can't get enough of it. And the deal is, it comes from. Funnily enough, I've got a lot of quotes from lots of people. Like there's. Michael Caine he's been interviewed several times, but they were asking him about certain looks that he gave, I believe in the Ipcris files. Harry Palmer is wearing these big kind of national health glasses, which are big rims. He's like, this look. And the interviewer's like, what's that look about? And he goes, that's confidence. And the joke is, it really is, because when you know what you want to do from a young age, and you don't realize what a strength that is, and that there are so many people, you know, who know in their heart of hearts they don't want to be chained up to a wall in a loincloth covered in ketchup. And so, you know, but I realize this, like you do, that knowing it from an early age is a huge strength. And we'd be actually lost as people without that thing that gives us a sense of purpose. And I believe as well, I can't totally define for you what that is.
I know. Well, so somebody online, we posted a clip from the show where we were talking about likability in characters and why women seem to always have to be likable in some weird way. And I said, and I was slightly joking, so I paraphrased what I meant, but basically what I said is that if I see a character on paper that's not complicated, like I make her complicated. And someone was like, you can't, I completely disagree with that, Katee. You can't, if a character's not complicated on paper, you shouldn't try to make her complicated. And I said, I actually disagree with you. Human beings are complicated. Thinking that people aren't complicated is part of the problem with our society. Everyone's complicated. Everybody has more to them. But the problem is we're consistently only going skin deep with people. I try to go beneath that and find out what a person, what their gut is, what their fire is. Now, granted, you may not see that, but I'm still playing it.
Yes.
And that's all that matters. I've made her complicated for myself, not necessarily, and then for your benefit, but you don't need to see her complications.
No, I think that
there.
it's it's like actors with opinions or actors with ideas. But I've had that once before where somebody's like, you shouldn't have done that, or you shouldn't have thought, or you shouldn't have done this thing. And over the years, I've just thought, that's actually none of your business, what I did. So, whatever, you do you, I'll do me. Thank you very much.
So in your sense, when you say that it's none of your business, what you mean is that, did you enjoy the movie?
No,
then it doesn't matter.
Well, it was more as like, if you were playing the part, then you can play the part like that. But actually, I was playing the part, and that's what it's not really up for debate, because it's a very personal thing about the way that you take on a character. I think people don't realize that, one of the things as an actor that you do is that if you don't love your character necessarily, you're deeply invested in protecting the character from any kind of thing. And I think I want to go back to something you said about likability, which is fascinating. I think really fascinating, because societally, like, I don't, unless you're truly unusual, I don't think you want to come across as unlikable, right? And this is an interesting thing about society, which you think about the wolf and the way that the wolf was, and now we have dogs, and dogs are domesticated wolves.
Okay.
And we find that there's a certain element to the way we are that, certainly seeing the kids as well, is like slowly becoming defanged as a species. It's more docile, more compliant, more floppy-eared, nicer in general. Some of these are great strengths, some of them aren't so much. But when it comes to characters as well, like, one of the really fun things you can do, I feel, as an actor, is I don't want you to like Gaius Baltar. For Christ's sake, that's the whole point. I don't want you to like him. I want you to see somebody that there's an interesting thing about the difference between frailty, human frailty, and human vulnerability.
Yes.
And vulnerability is actually rather beautiful. And there's so many things that attest to this in our understanding of things. Superman was a great comic, but then dropped in sales because Superman was invincible. Oh dear, what do? We need to invent something. We got, kryptonite. Now Superman is also vulnerable. It's that thing in those movies when we see that he can't do the thing that he needs to do. Get up, Superman. Yeah. Come on. The vulnerability is very... it's like the way that, like, we've got pets. Yeah. The way the dogs look at you. those eyes. You want to give them a hug or pat them on the head. So vulnerability is really fascinating. Human frailty in a different kind of doing things that are shitty, that are not nice. I used to say about Battlestar, it was like, Gaius Baltar's kind of mantra was like, it's the end of the world. And if I can possibly do my next door neighbor a disservice, I will. I bloody well will. It's like, I'm that venal. I'm like, whatever. This is the thing about like survival of however the way this thing is. Get whatever. I want you to see the real grit under. That's part of the fun of acting as well, is like showing the grit underneath the fingernails.
Yeah.
The stuff you don't like, that you don't want people to see. So I think then the other thing about women, I think it's really difficult. I think it's totally askew. I think it's actually a testament now to actually how powerful women are.
Oh, I agree.
And it's an indomitable thing. And so there's this thing about you. Well, you're naturally powerful anyway. So now you're powerful and unlikable. It's just unbearable. Look at all those guys, that incredible cast in Succession.
Oh my God.
And all the people and what they were doing.
You
can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
And they're all brilliant.
Yes.
But like most of them, unlikable traits.
Very unlikable. So when you get a script, when you first get a script, and you read it, what are you looking for in that first read?
Wow, what a great question. Do you know, I think it's not what I'm looking for. It's more like, what I find. And it might sound like a strange answer. I think I'm looking for subtlety. I'm looking for subtlety in almost all of it. It's like, how is this going to be airbrushed from the page into the thing that we're going to be making? And the way that somebody writes, obviously horses for courses and things, but a great screenplay or a great script, it looks a certain way. You will know, exactly what I mean as well. It's like, if somebody hasn't written a script before, because it's like looking at a brick house, because it's just chunks and chunks of whatever. A good script is like, it's really streamlined, it's elegant, it's kind of, it's beautiful. Look, it's like a beautiful theory or an algorithm. It's actually quite simple. And the other thing as well is like the best thing about a script is like when you literally you just want to turn the page.
I say this to people all the time.
That's it. And then you find that like if you're not like that really, that whatever it is, something's missing from it. There's something that's I don't mind a slow burn. Into something. And then sometimes I'm a naturally impatient person. Yep. So, I'm like, and then it's something, that's why. Because now I'm like going down the waterfall and it's not stopping. The thing at the beginning was somebody just holding that candle like this for 10 to 15 pages until the whole thing blows up and you're on a big journey. So, love something that makes me, turn the page and it's subtle. It's like when we're reading it, it's like I don't want to know where the thing is. I want to be surprised. If suddenly like by the first or the second thing, it's like, well, I'm about to tell you right now what is going to happen all the way through, then there's something, it's not great. Because if you're ahead of it as a writer, the audience is going to be way ahead while they're watching it. And you always want to be a couple of steps ahead of the audience.
Yeah. Somebody told me that I just recently worked with an acting coach for the very first time to sort of like get my mojo back, long story. But one of the things she said was I was breaking down a role in a project. And it was about 7 to 8 pages. And in that 7 to 8 pages, there were 13, 14 scenes. So everything's broken up in beats. And you're bouncing around to different places. And so we were no dialogue. Not really. And she said, whatever you do, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't play scene 13 when you're in scene 4. And it was one of the best pieces of advice that she could have given me. And it was really important because I think at times that is the trap of the writer, of the actor, to be projecting the story where you're gonna go ahead of time.
I've been taught a similar thing, come through it a different way. I call it end gaming.
Oh yeah.
It's like you're playing the end of the thing. So this is part of, actually, I suppose, where some notes of my acting come from. We did a Romeo and Juliet. No, we didn't. We did a different play. I can't remember which one it was. But the director was very brilliant. This is at drama school again, Steve Jameson. And he was like, thing is, everybody knows Romeo and Juliet. You just know, don't we? We know what happens. They're both, oh dear, it's funny in today's show. Guys, they're both unalived by the end of it. So he's like, so the thing is, when we make Romeo and Juliet, we were making another play.
Yeah, of course.
He's like, but when we make it, I swear to God, it's like the audience are going to believe all the way through the play that these guys are going to make it. It literally, when things go south at the end, it is going to be a fracking catastrophe.
Yeah.
People are going to be bawling their eyes out in the audience because they didn't see it coming like that. That's what we've got to do if we're doing this. What a brilliant note.
It's a great note.
It's like, it's not going to be a tragedy. That is not what this is. They're going to run off. They're going to be together forever. That's where we're steering this thing. And so I see this a lot with, it's normally like the hero type in the script is like, knows already that the bad guy is a bad guy before any, like, whatever it is, because
the hero knows.
Like, whatever. And I'm thinking of some particularly brilliant people who I'm working with now. Can I say Sir Gary Oldman?
You can, because we're going to talk about
Sir
him.
Gary Oldman, who is he is brilliant in the thing, but he never does that. He's several steps ahead, but he's not worked it all out like in the way that you and I have watched in countless television shows, where from the very first moment there's the meeting with the bad guy and whatever. It's like it's a fait accompli.
Yeah.
And so not having that is really great.
So how do you, because this lends itself to this, but how do you work with directors, other actors, writers, are you a person who really loves and needs rehearsals? Because you seem to me, and granted, it's just from working with you, but there seems to be a spontaneity to you that could actually just be planned.
Oh,
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How does Gary Oldman stay in that place of where he may not know what he's going to do? Like, when you don't know what you're going to do, you're going to go with it. You're going to take your direction. You're going to take that scene partner. You're going to just stay fluid in it.
Well, that's why everything you've just said is why we love what we do. Like, look at the interactions with all of these people. So first of all, you've got the script. Now, 9 times out of 10, like any actor with an idea, I've got, like, hey, what if we, this is great. What if we do this? Or has anybody thought about like this thing? And normally that's again, it's like to throw things off track a little bit. It's going to be on track. We're telling this. It's not about changing the story. It's about executing the story in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
So, be fun if you do this or whatever. I rarely ad lib on film. You know, I mean, I'm just trying to think.
Are you really word for word?
No, it's more like those little things that I've added. I've thought about while I was reading the script. I'm like, this will be fun if I can say this. And then I would say 9 times out of 10 to the director, let's do everything as is planned, you know, and whatever. If there's an opportunity, can I do this? And 9 times out of 10, once you've got the thing that everybody wants and it's in the can, then they're like, sure, we've got 5 minutes for you to do this thing again. For example, not it's such a huge deal, but like No More Mr. Nice Gaius.
Yes.
Was like, I was reading it and the thing in the script was No More Mr. Nice Guy. I'm like, come on.
Like missing an opportunity.
You are
here,
really
guys.
missing an opportunity. I can't remember which producer it was who said to me, nobody will understand what you're talking about.
How could they not?
Like, what do you mean? That the Battlestar audience is some of the smartest people that you could ever meet. So yeah, anyway, so that flew. So those little things, I think it does come from being on stage. That you have this fluidity, because actually on stage, you can't ad lib.
Yeah.
You can't ad lib your way through George Bernard Shaw or whatever, or Shakespeare or whatever. With television then, not that you're ad libbing, but you're like, as you've been rehearsing, you're like, you know, if I changed it to this, obviously I'll speak to the person I'm acting with. And then you bring up this other thing. What are we doing? Where you're acting with other people. You're listening to them, and not just listening, because I think it's like 70% of our communication is nonverbal. So, you know, whatever idea I have about what I'm going to do is always altered, changed, because of who I'm acting with, how they're playing the character. I'd say a lot of times I didn't think that the person I was going to be acting with was going to do it the way that they're doing it. And that's amazing, because that then it's like, oh, well, that totally changes then how I might approach it. And the best scenes are things which are, it's not necessarily that you've rehearsed them so many times. It's that you're doing them. So this one and this shot and this thing, and you find a rhythm with somebody else. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, a lot of these things are two-handers, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? It's you and somebody else. And it's a bit like this interview, which he's all right, he's okay. Which I'm really enjoying. We're bouncing off one another. And although there's cameras and whatever it is, we're focused on each other. That has an energy.
Yes. You have worked with, and I'm bringing it to Gary, but you've also, you know, mentioned Eddie. You've worked with so many phenomenal, like, actors.
I have been so lucky. Yeah.
Is there a commonality between all of them? Like something that each one of them all inhabits?
Thinking they're all so different. They're all so different with all, like, you know, I was lucky enough to work with Omar Sharif in an unusual, in a film called One Night with the King. And that's, like a screen icon.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there is something all these people actually have in common. They're all bloody nice. They're actually, no matter how famous or legendary all these people are, they're some of the kindest, most supportive, most generous, warm, with, I think, across the board, another thing that all ties them together is a rather wonderful sense of humor.
Yeah.
And a bit dry. And that's a phenomenal thing, actually. The thing that I'm thinking about, all of these really, truly amazing people who I've been lucky enough to work with. And apart from the fact that they're all brilliant in their own ways, and you can't, no, not one of them could be the other.
Yeah.
But the thing that unites them all is it's actually very comfortable being with them. You're very comfortable acting with them, and you get to do this thing. It's like you do your best work. I think you do your best work when you are comfortable, actually, not when you're not comfortable, and because that allows you to play, that allows you to explore something, and so I think it's one of those things. Probably it's. Well, I haven't read the book. Sorry, but there's something about like the talents of highly successful people. I think it's like a business book, or the 7 talents of highly successful people. There's so much creativity, but like I say, there's a real humanity. There's a real underneath, and some of the scenes I've been doing are very confrontational and very, whatever it might be. That's the acting. Away from the acting, give each other a hug. And
well, there's an intimacy to what we do. And I feel like the best scene partners, the best lovers, like want you to be comfortable and confident.
Yeah.
And fully inhabit yourself, because it makes their experience better as well.
Funnily enough, you're making me think right now of Callum Rennie, who I just saw in Vancouver for Michael Hogan's event, which was amazing. He looks, like all of you guys, could be a Cylon because he looks so amazing. But he's also, he's so kind. He's such a lovely man. He plays scary, because they were asking us, it was like, who's the scariest, what was the scariest thing in Battlestar? I went, well, Callum, for me. I wasn't in the scenes, but I watched them. I'm like, he was, for me, the most dangerous and the most scary. Yeah. That stuff, the farm.
Yeah.
And then look at the man who's actually underneath it, who's a beautiful, beautiful human being.
I fell in love with him.
Yeah, not surprising.
Every day.
Yeah.
At work. Every single day I fell in love with him. And we had some intense scenes together. It was this weird thing where you sort of like, when you're doing a scene and you're struggling to connect with what a person feels. Like Starbuck being in this situation, she finds herself in a situation where she's living with him for certain reasons, and she has the sex scene with him, which sort of feels like could be a rape. And she's got these things, right? This guilt surrounding Leoben. And I was always like, I don't quite get it. Like, I don't understand her. And then I realized that there's just something about the character that she can't help but be enamored with. She can't help but feel lust for. And that is Callum's.
He's strangely magnetic.
Is very magnetic.
But I was thinking about this of you guys, the scenes and whatever across the table. And actually there's this thing of, apart from, you're both very good looking to look at, like, that's and we're saying, like, you can, whatever, that's you can thank your parents, but it's actually this thing I'm thinking of, the looks in these things, the passion, the energy between you. It's almost like that. It's not like you're opposing magnets, because they actually, you can't stick to opposing magnets together. What it is, I feel, is that, you as a human being, Cara, see this kind of, this indomitable force in front of you, this thing. It's not going away. It's there. You're helpless at that point, or semi-helpless as a character. You're attracted to the power it's a form of Stockholm syndrome. You're attracted to the power. He's attracted because you've got something he can't have.
Mm. Mm.
And you're stuck in this kind of like, in this stare together, because like you as a human being have this spark, have this thing that he can't have.
I also always thought that there was a part of Leoben that was constantly telling Starbuck how important she was. And she hated it because she hated herself. And so there was this thing about him that she couldn't help but be attracted to that. Somebody seeing the best in you, but also hating them because they see you so clearly. Yeah, he is phenomenal. He did this movie called Flower and Garnet.
Okay.
You should watch it.
I will.
It is haunting.
Okay, yeah.
His character is...
I look forward to it.
It's not what he plays a dad. It is probably one of the saddest, most raw, honest things I've seen. He's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good. Was there anything that surprised you working with Gary? Because I know you just sort of worked with him, right? For the first time?
Yes. Well, I have to say, I actually have far more scenes with Kristin, Scott Thomas.
Yes. Who's...
And when I auditioned for the show, I knew that I'd be... the scenes that I was auditioning for were, with her, or that I would be in a scene with her, which is certainly a lot of motivation to want to, do a tape.
Yeah.
So Kristin's like digital. It's like she's been in film for and that's another thing, Gary, film for years and years and years. And they have this art of everything looks effortless.
Yeah.
Or as well, like nothing looks acted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not that lines are thrown away. That's not really what I mean. But acting with Kristin is like, she really was like the second desk or the first desk of MI5.
Yeah.
You totally, you believe it when you're in the scenes with her. And yeah, I learned so very much from, it was one of those things, it's like whatever she decides to do, she's so in touch with her character, and she would do different things and different takes and things, and they were all great. That was the thing about, it's every decision. If she decides to do this, it's a flipping great decision. If she decides to do something different, it's another great decision. It's like, oh wow.
Is that fun? Because
it's a bit intimidating.
Because each one changes you as well.
It's a bit intimidating initially.
Yeah.
Working with somebody that at ease with it. Also as well, I'm coming into a show like they've done it for 4 years before I've joined the show.
Is that when you came in season 4?
I think so. And I had met Gary. A couple of times to, in fact, the real story is that when I met Gary, we hugged each other, he said hi, whatever, it was so warm and so sweet. And he went, I've been waiting a long time to meet you. And I went, I think that's my line, Gary. I think that's what I should say, because Giselle, his wife, is a sci-fi fan, and she turned Gary onto Battlestar. And he loves Battlestar, and so did Will Smith, the brilliant writer of Slow Horses that I was doing. So yeah, that was an amazing thing. You're meeting one of your heroes and idols.
Yeah.
And they know who you are because they've watched you on telly, and then they still want to be with you after watching on telly. So we had a scene, just one, and this thing could have been really, really mean, to be quite honest. The way that the thing is written, it could have been so confrontational and harsh, and it's not. And it's not because of the way that Gary is. I found that actually with a few people like this. It's like, a lot of people think, when you first start acting on things, like it's about confrontation. It's like, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. Like this.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's not. That's actually pretty boring, to be quite honest. It's a dance. It's dance, and and when does somebody do a pirouette on the floor or this thing? But it is a dance, and there's this push and a pull, and it's so much more fascinating and so much more fun to do.
Yeah.
So I had the time of my life, and I would say this: we'd do the scenes and give each other a hug, and that's what he's like with everybody. He's just. People don't realize how, whatever that he's acting. They're like, oh yeah, he's like, and no, he's nothing like that.
Curmudgeon.
He's nothing like that at all.
No.
And what's incredible is that you believe that he is, but he's not like that. It was an insanely fun thing to do, but also, as we were discussing, then those things which you were like, oh my gosh, what's this going to be like? This is going to be a bit of a big deal. The scenes that I did were as comfortable as I'm sitting with you here right now. And I really mean it. This is comfortable. This is relaxed. We know each other a long time. And, but I don't know Gary a long time.
Yeah.
So to be able to do a scene with him and for it to feel like this is a big deal.
Yeah.
I feel. And it sets you up for hey, everything should be this great. Everything should be. It felt really easy.
Well, so that's the thing. That's what I was alluding to, is that there is a very big difference between an icon, like a living legend at their craft, and a movie star.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Right.
And I have worked with actors who you are there in service of them.
Right.
They don't show up for their off camera. They don't I've worked, with that where it's not intimate. It's everything but intimate.
Oh
They're the
gosh.
guy that, throws the $100 on the table after you're done and doesn't even look you in the face. That's that. I've worked in that.
Oh dear.
There's a difference between that and Eddie and Mary.
Oh my God.
And Peter O'Toole, who I worked with,
Yes.
and Richard Dreyfuss, and these, and Gary and Kristin. These people who are so confident in who they are as people, and they've got nothing to prove.
No.
They're just there in facilitation of the art. And that's their job, and they enjoy it. It's very different.
What do you do, Katee?
In that situation,
What on earth do you do?
you know your place. And I've always just acknowledged that is all to do with them and nothing to do with me. And I just don't let it bother me. I try to feel sorry for them and let it go and not affect my performance.
Yeah.
You know? So I read this thing when I was researching you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Researching.
Where it gave the impression that you don't want to go back to Battlestar Galactica a lot. Was it inferring that what it meant, like what we were talking about, like right after Battlestar, you don't want to play the same characters over and over and over again. Like, what was
so
the
fascinating. I
reference
remember
to?
how essentially that like a lot of interviews that you give for you meet with somebody, and then it's what you said back that kind of gets slightly printed without context,
Yes.
or without the question that they asked you beforehand.
Yeah.
So I did see that thing, and when it was like, James Callis doesn't want to revisit Battlestar. I'm like, it didn't say it like that. You've got to be really careful about what you say. So this was a thing about, I think that the interviewer at the time, although this didn't come out in the article, was trying to throw shade on the idea of a new Battlestar.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was saying, every generation, every time has its new thing. And I think that the whole idea of it is actually a great idea because the world has changed so much and our understanding of AI is gallivanting, and that will affect the Cylons and the politics. And there is so many ways that we can tell this story. In fact, the problem, I believe, why Battlestar hasn't been remade is because they can't work out what the ending might be given the state of the gallivanting AI that we understand today.
That's what I feel like it got too complicated.
So I was saying that I think that the whole thing is so exciting and it's wonderful, but I wouldn't personally necessarily want to be involved because we've done our thing. And not only that, I think we did our thing really great. It's like, is there anything that you feel that you're missing? But like, I don't think so. I think that like we all got to cover a huge range of human emotions.
Yeah.
And we were part of this incredible, I call it like cinematic literature. This mega movie told over like 78 hours of through the seasons.
Yeah.
Incredibly consistent. And as I always say, like you care so much about these people and they're fictional. You're not supposed to care so much about people who don't exist. But so your totems for we reflected a lot of like what life was. So my feeling was I'd another Battlestar, incredible, but I think that my involvement or my commitment to that thing is kind of done, and that's what I meant in the sense of not wanting to revisit it. I think the whole idea of it is incredible.
I felt I've said similar things. You know, I've said if they wanted to potentially write a different character and it was fun and I was inspired enough to motivated to come back for a second, that could be fun. But like,
we'd be distracting, Katie, surely.
100%.
It's like whatever.
You don't want me there.
There's a meta thing in the thing and the whatever. I think that we could really, Richard Hatch could really be in our show because first of all, the people who watched the original love Richard, so did we, and loved him being in the show. The characters were a huge departure, but also the time difference at which it happened allowed a whole new audience to fall in love with Richard in a, you know.
And I feel like so the same amount of time has passed. It's been 20 years.
Okay.
It's the same amount of time. But the difference is Richard and Dirk were 40 when they were doing that.
Okay.
They were not 23.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think on paper, even though we've all aged, we could all still play the same characters.
We could. Someone was asking, I was like, probably playing better.
Right, 100%.
Were you the youngest?
I was.
You were.
I was.
You were like, whatever.
Yeah.
Amazing. Because I didn't know that. Or
Nikki Klein may have been 3 months younger than me or something like that. But of the main cast, yeah.
Yeah, it never... I suppose that was the thing maybe you thought about, whatever. I never thought about like how old people were or whatever. Just thought about how they were as the character.
Yeah.
We had some great scenes early on. We played cards together and stuff.
Were you there? I think you were there that day where I think we were all playing cards and my character was smoking cigars.
Oh, defo.
And drinking coffee in a cup. And I got so green because nobody had really told me not to inhale
Oh God, those cigars.
Because I was a smoker. So I knew that's how I
God
smoked
almighty.
cigars. I turned green and they were like, Katee, you're not supposed to inhale the cigar.
I find it difficult to smoke a cigar
Yeah.
because of naturally wanting. Well, I can't do that.
To inhale.
Yeah, it's no good.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I think I might have gone to my trailer and thrown up.
Yeah.
Possibly. Did you intentionally make Baltar a narcissist, or was he just a man? Because I don't really remember him on the page. It's been so long.
Yeah, no, there was.
Or did you just make him a man trying to survive?
I think he was. I think it, to a degree, he was written narcissistically, because like he's always out for number one, really. And there are a couple of things whatever, part of the process. When we had the big explosion at the end of, I think it's the miniseries. It's like Cylon's children are coming home today. Definitely was.
Oh, you mean when number 6 like walks and like explodes?
Walks in, yeah. She walks into our house and
and blows out everything
blows
all
out
day, but she
everything.
protects you.
She protects me, and I'm hiding
I
behind
remember
her.
that. Okay.
So that was actually the scene that I auditioned with, and it was. I thought the whole thing, initially at least, of being found in bed with a woman by another woman, I was like, this is just so funny, which can't believe nobody else thought was funny.
Why is no one laughing?
This is so funny. And it was like this whole thing. I remember the lines these were the lines, something about it's not you. It's me. It's me. Like, what how do you even, and then the girl gets out of bed, Monica.
That
Delan,
was
Monica
that Trisha's stunt double
No,
as well?
it wasn't.
Oh.
Another lady, Monica, beautiful.
Yeah.
It was like, she was like, bye. She had to like get out of bed. So I thought that was just so amusing. And then I suppose the way that we ended up playing it was funny. And that was great. But then I can't remember when I said the words, because it was the one thing that was missing. And the one thing that was missing was like after the explosion, or it's just before the explosion, you're seeing all these people, you're seeing the world in collapse. I was crying and I said, what have I done? And I remember David Icke coming up and going, that was, that's not in the script, but we actually, it was missing. It was missing for the character. It was missing for the thing, because actually now through your eyes is like, what has he done? What has he been involved with?
Yeah.
So, do you know, I hadn't really thought about the idea of him being a narcissist until I think, it wasn't my idea necessarily. It's interesting. I imagine that he comes across like that. And certainly that's been more informed since the show has been off by looking at figures who seem to have read the script and are like running it for real.
Yeah.
Which is, slightly more worrying. He had all these great things. One of them, again, I think at the end of the miniseries, she's like, 6 says, you've got to decide which side are you on. And I had this wonderful line, scripted line, I'm not on anyone's side.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, in Battlestar, I thought that was an amazing statement. It was like, who gets to say that they're not on anyone's side? Only me. And by saying that as well, he's really couching what side he wants to be on. Because obviously, as a human being, you want to be on the side of the humans.
Exactly.
I certainly knew that the guy was really vain, and that part of his thing was he just wanted to show people like how, this is one of saving Laura Roslin's life, because he finds the chemical formula that with Kamala and something can save her so she doesn't die, is more about proving to the fleet that he's a brilliant scientist, really,
than it is about saving
her life. That's a byproduct.
Yeah.
So that's where that form of, I suppose, narcissism and vanity comes into a character like that.
How do you balance your, like, I know you've been married for 30 years now.
Almost.
Nearly.
Long time, yeah.
But like, how do you were talking about music, you're talking about writing, like, how do you balance, you've raised 3 of the most wonderful children.
Touch wood.
They are all so lovely. They're good kids.
They're good kids.
And you and Neha are solid as individuals, but also as a couple. Like, how do you balance that?
So that's well, I mean, first of all, you've got to be lucky to have the right partner. That's a huge thing in your life, in anybody's life. And I'd heard this thing, I think Neha was quoting, it might be The Alchemist, it's certainly from a book. She told me this like years ago. She was like, you know, when people get together initially, it's like you want to be wrapped around each other. You like when you're infatuated, when you fall in love. But the picture of this thing is like, you know, a house doesn't like rest on one column with the other column twined around it, because like then the house is going to fall down. What you have is 2 separate columns that are holding the house up. And I think that that's part of a great relationship, is having the space between you, the space that you afford each other.
Yeah.
And in that space as well, you can get a lot done, and you can get a lot done together. So I'm sure this is exactly like you. Neha's my best friend.
Yeah.
And I was watching, there's this great stuff on Instagram. I mean, you could be on Instagram all day, couldn't you?
I know. It's so addictive.
And there's this thing called BBC Archive, and it's all stuff from the archives, like the 60s and the 70s, some in black and white. The English seem to be absolute masters of the understatement, and it totally, you know, in a way that the Americans seem to be master of the overstatement. You know, it's awesome, it's great, it's fantastic. And like back in the day, it's satisfactory. It's okay.
Oh my goodness.
It's all measured.
Like Ginevra. Like, I feel like maybe she's like a British mum in her.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh. This is quite nice, Mummy.
Oh, how wonderful.
Mummy, it's very nice. It's very nice. I feel very satisfied.
Well,
she's just, yes. It's very funny.
It's the way that they speak. So they've got all these teenagers, it's black and white or something. They're like, and those voices, there's RP, received pronunciation, you know. And what would you say, you know, makes a good marriage? Are you looking for a good marriage? Are you looking, what would you say is something that you're looking forward to in your life? And they're like asking 16 and 17-year-olds, and like, most of these kids, I would have said, if somebody asked me at 16 or 17, I would like, oh, love, like the most important, love, whatever it is, love, to be in love with somebody is.
I want to love them so hard it hurts.
And it does. And that is like, to burn always with this something, with this sacred flame is success in life, to quote somebody else. But all these young kids were like, I think it's very much about companionship. Yes, it's about companionship. I was like watching all of these kids, because, you know, it's a long road, isn't it? If you're going to be together for a long time, hopefully forever, you know, then it's more than just, it's support. It's support and it's companionship. It's somebody who's there for you, and you're there for, I'm like, I didn't realize it, but that is absolutely the scope of it.
Yeah.
Like this person who you're with, my wife, my best friend, and my companion. And when you have that trust, warmth, love, whatever, it would seem that, you know, we mimic each other, that we ape each other. That's what we do, and through life. So like they know that like 5 to 10 minutes after a baby's born, somebody can stand in front of the baby and go like this, and the baby will also start to mirror.
Yeah,
If
interesting.
it can. So the children have been brought up in, I'd say, where we are as well. It's kind of like rather a sleepy place, not in the big city.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, what we wanted to do is for the children to be children as long as possible.
Yes.
And I think and I think, to be fair, that's the thing that was afforded me. And I think it was afforded Neha. It was like, you want to be kids for as long as you can, because once you're not a kid, there's a lot of responsibility. That doesn't mean that we necessarily treated them like kids, because I don't think we have. But the environment and the things that they're open to has kept them kids while we wanted them to be. And I think that was a good thing.
It's true, though, in that, you sort of, I look at Ginny and everything that she's been through, and she's so grown up in so many ways. She is so empathetic to other people because of what she's gone through in her life. And in some ways, she's so far beyond her years. Robin and I are constantly reminding ourselves, she's 3.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think
3.
that what she's been through, it's one of those things. It's like, it's heartbreaking.
Mm.
But it's like she's already got like a world of experience at 3 years old, which many people never have to cope with, never have to, whatever it is. And as a baby as well, it's just stuff that you kind of take on board. You are forming. It's like it's a totally different thing if something like all this stuff was going to happen out of the blue when somebody's 16 or 17.
Yeah.
Why me?
Yeah.
What is this? We can do all of that as parents, you know. But she is phenomenal, and she has this incredible resilience.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of that is brushed off from you, Katee.
She made me a better mom, not just because, like, I think the moment your child's born and like I grew up before I had my kids. I'm not growing up with them. Granted, I'm changing and I'm learning, but I waited a very long time to have children. But everything she's gone through made me a better parent, because I don't think it ever occurred to me that you would come face to face with the loss of a child 8 months after welcoming them into the world. I instantaneously became so appreciative of every day with her, even when she's driving me fucking batshit, which FYI is daily. Like, I mean, she is like a mini me, but there will never be a day that I don't wake up, as long as I live and she's here, that I go, God, aren't we lucky? We're so lucky. And every parent, when push comes to shove, I think most parents anyway, would say the exact same thing.
Of course they would.
But when it's in your DNA, like when it's a piece of you, it's a piece of me now, you know? I think inherently we realize how important relationships are after they're gone. After someone's gone and you have no time left, when you can't go back and say that thing that you want to say. With Ginny, I think that Robin and I are astutely aware that every day with her is not promised, and it is a gift. And it makes you a different person.
Well, of course it does. It's I can't even imagine, to be quite honest, how strong you are, and Robin, and it's kind of incredible. I have to say, I don't know. I imagine I wouldn't be nearly as strong as you. I imagine. And also there's that thing, reminds me of years ago, like, I can't remember who it was. I'm sure it was on Battlestar. They're like trying to hike me out of the makeup because like we're all ready and thing, but the makeup's not ready or something needs to be done. and the makeup lady turns to the first AD and says, "Hey, buddy, movie, world, movie, world. Now fuck off." And that's one of the things I think we also have is like, well, the industry and the thing and whatever, and it's exciting and whatever. There's nothing more important than family. The world's crazy. If you can, like your life, end up as like somebody who's not on TV in one of these terrible flipping situations, do you know how lucky you are?
You're winning.
Do you think you've got a concern about this or that or the other? There are some things which are real world concerns, and they are obviously, way more important.
If you have a roof over your head, you don't have to worry about food. Your children are safe.
What are you complaining about?
And you don't live in a conflict zone. You're better off than 90% of the people.
Yes, I just think that you're. It's interesting looking at people. You do see, getting remarkably upset over stuff that is, it isn't that important actually, really.
Yeah.
And like the wind, like the situation will. Jerry Seinfeld does this great thing. He's like, you go outside, people are like, the weather's great. Do you think it's going to stay like this? He's like, no, because it's the weather. Because it changes. Everything changes.
Give it 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This has been really wonderful. Thank you so much for, I could literally, this is what happens. I have 20, 40, 30 questions in here. I probably asked 5. Oh, no. And that's okay. We'll have a part 2 at some point.
Thank you so much, darling.
This has been wonderful. I really appreciate sitting down with you and getting to know you.
Well, I just, it's interesting to find 20 years after the event that like you were, I suppose that's the thing. You don't necessarily know how you come across as a person.
Yeah.
And, I wouldn't like to come across as intimidating unless like I was playing somebody who was. I find it funny you say that because like, when we first did work together, the person I found really intimidating was Eddie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the whole whatever until Eddie became like, our godfather, the person who I rely on. We have a phrase about looking funny without somebody in England. I'd look funny without so-and-so. Yeah. Doesn't mean you'd look funny, but you'd look funny. I'd look funny without Eddie.
Well, I mean, he's the godfather of all your children, isn't he?
Of course, yeah. And
yeah.
That thing that we all have, I was just saying, it's lovely when we did a show. They didn't know. We couldn't have possibly known that we'd all want to spend time with each other, that we'd all click into place with each other. What shows, how many shows are there where we're all still friends, 20 plus years later, and if we can, enjoy to be with each other in each other's company.
Yeah.
So that's,
it's such a gift.
I want to thank you for being such a lovely host, for making this, which I'm actually, I'm quite comfortable being a character on television. I'm genuinely less comfortable, I don't know, being on stage, being me, because for whatever reason, I made me self-conscious. So you are very brilliant. You've done it, all of this. It's all brilliant.
Thank you.
Applause to you. Congratulations.
I appreciate you. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Thank you all so much for listening to that episode. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I loved being a part of it. Remember to send those questions and comments to thesackhoffshow@gmail.com. If you haven't subscribe to the channel. We are now going to go over to a little segment called The Hindsight, where my producer Jeff Porter and I talk about the guest and things going on in our life. If you want to be a part of that, you can join us at patreon.com/The Sackhoff Show. We're building a great community over there, and we would love to have you. Other than that, I will see you next Tuesday, and that's what's up.